It's been almost a decade since this final episode premiered, and Breaking Bad has cemented itself as one of the best television series ever created. Accompanied by an exceptional cast coupled with masterful writing, there is one thing that has spearheaded Breaking Bad to its modern success: Bryan Cranston's Walter White. In this video, I want to compare, contrast, and analyze the similarities that Breaking Bad and Walter White have to another global phenomenon: Attack on Titan's Eren Yeager. The Attack on Titan manga ended just over a year ago, and the anime is set to wrap up early next year, meaning soon all fans of the series will witness the full growth and development of Eren. Even without looking at the final 10 chapters of the manga, there is still a stark comparison to be made between Walter White and Eren Yeager. Starting off, let's look at their early ideals and where the two characters come from. Walter was a very ambitious man at the beginning of the show, rarely ever showing signs of second-guessing himself or being too scared to act. He knows he's hit a dead end in his life, being stuck as a heavily overqualified high school chemistry teacher. Looking for a way out, everything changes when his brother-in-law Hank unknowingly introduces him to the meth business. And once Walter receives news from his doctor that he's been diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, he knows he would never live to face the consequences of his actions were he to fall down a life of crime. Eren's origin is very similar yet different to Walter's. Where Walter is a grown adult who knows he must make some changes to his life, Eren is just a child at the beginning of the show. He's extremely ambitious like Walter, yes, but he has a loving family and two great friends who would all support him in life no matter what. However, this all changes when his hometown is destroyed by the Colossus Titan, his mother is eaten before his eyes, and his father goes missing. Just like Walter, when he learns of his lung cancer, Eren has nothing to lose when he volunteers to join the military. Something I would like to point out before I move on to the next stage in their character development is that Eren and Walter both exhibit two very important character traits early on in their arcs. Before tragedy strikes them both, they express their interest in their inevitable futures. When Walter has his 50th birthday party and sees all of the money that could be made, he expresses his interest in the business before he is presented with the news of his cancer. And this goes to the same thing of Eren. He tells his family he wants to join the Scouts before Wall Shigashida collapses. What this proves to us is that the character development of both Walter and Eren weren't brought onto them. It's something that's always been present in both of their natures. This is an idea that we're going to return to towards the end of this video, so keep this in mind. Moving on, I want to discuss how the characters change and develop throughout the two series. At first glance, Attack on Titan and Breaking Bad are two very different stories that seemingly share nothing in common. However, when you break down the two stories and the two main characters who lead them, you may be surprised to see how similar they actually are. Assuming that since you're watching this you've seen all of Breaking Bad, you know how corrupted Walter becomes by the end of the show. Something that fans like to debate is the exact moment that Walter White truly becomes Heisenberg. Some say it's closer to the beginning, when he first confronts Tuco, blows up that rich guy's car, purposely lets Jane die, etc. Others think that is closer to the end, during Crawl Space, when Walter tells Skylar he is the danger, when Walter tells Deacon to say his name, or when Hank is killed right in front of him. However, there is no firm answer, and in my opinion, the reason no one can pinpoint the exact moment of Walter's change to Heisenberg is because he doesn't actually have one. Walter is someone who's always been Heisenberg. The persona he adopts has always been in his nature, and throughout the series, we see how Walter White slips and falls as he retreats into Heisenberg. Eren is a lot different from Walter during this middle chunk of the story. Whereas with Walter he has steady development from good to evil, Eren is morally good for about the first 90 chapters of the story, which is roughly 70% of the manga. During the first 3 seasons, Eren is always fighting with and for his friends, always fighting for the good of humanity. There is nothing more he wants than to eliminate all of the Titans and end the oppression that has plagued him and his people his entire life. However, unlike Walter, it is explicit that the first time we see Eren post-time skip during the Marley arc, he has changed heavily. His character design becomes darker in nature, with his grown-out hair and more crude demeanor to the other characters, and his conversations of Falco and Reiner during the Marley arc are nothing like we've ever heard from Eren before. What becomes evident with both Walter and Eren during their respective series is that their goals and aspirations grow much larger than they originally intended. So large, in fact, they can no longer control them. Both Walter and Eren have to push away their family and friends and not allow them to really know what's ever going on. The similarities are quite stark. Walter constantly lies to Skylar throughout the story, not because he wants to, but because he has to. And this eventually grows to the rest of his family, Hank, Marie, Walter Jr., and then eventually Jesse. It gets to a point where by lying, he's no longer protecting the ones he cares about, but just hurting them more and more by pushing them away. With Eren, it's the exact same, but just a little more subtle. This is where I'm officially going to enter spoiler territory for both the ending of Breaking Bad and the ending of the Attack on Titan manga. So if you have not read the ending of the Attack on Titan manga, please do not continue watching this. Earlier, I explained how both Walter and Eren previously expressed interest in their eventual fates before their tragic events set their stories in motion. For Walter, it's his character diagnosis and the debt that is consuming his family. And for Eren, it's his hometown getting destroyed and his mother being eaten in front of him. The goals of both Eren and Walter are what drive the two throughout the stories. Eren's goals change depending on the circumstances that he's presented with. In the beginning, he explicitly states that his goal is simply to kill all of the Titans and to get revenge for his mother's death and to free humanity. As the story evolves though, and the plot thickens, it changes to him expressing that his goal is to free the Eldian people from their oppression worldwide. We are then led to believe this for the majority of the final arcs. Eren pushes away his friends and actively works against them to unlock the power of the Founding Titan, start the rumbling, and then commit genocide. However, what the ending reveals to us are Eren's true intentions. That he never really cared about Parade's freedom or justice for the Eldian people. Eren selfishly murdered 80% of the population not only to save his friends, but because he wanted to. This video isn't supposed to be a deep dive into Eren's character, so if you are still confused by Attack on Titan's ending or Eren's conclusion, I highly suggest to reread the last 30 or so chapters, or just go watch a full analysis video on YouTube. There are plenty of great ones out there. But essentially, Eren only ever wanted a peaceful world where he and his friends could be free and live long lives. He explicitly states this many times throughout the ending. That's why when Eren discovered that the world was vastly different from the one he was promised by Armin's book in the very beginning of the series, he was so utterly disappointed. Eren's fate was never something that was brought upon him. In fact, it may as well have been set in stone. As he states to Zeke in chapter 121, he would rather steal people's freedom away before they could steal his, just like he did as a child. Zeke believed that Grisha had brainwashed Eren as a child, but Eren refutes this claim. Their father never made Eren this way. He's always been like this from birth. Okay, so now that I've covered the dense topic that is Eren's character arc, let's look at Walter's conclusion, one that may as well be just as grim as Eren's. Throughout the entire story, Walter justifies his involvement in the meth business and the drug cartel by claiming that he's doing everything he is for his family. Walter knew that he didn't have long to live. His family was struggling to make ends meet. He was working 2 dead-end jobs as a heavily overqualified high school teacher and part-time at a car wash, and there's even evidence to suggest that he was growing disillusioned with his wife. Walter didn't just need to cook meth to save him and his family, he wanted to put his chemistry skills to the test. He didn't need to cook meth, he wanted to cook meth. And thankfully for us viewers, Walter lays it all out in the series finale for Lena.
That you did this for the family.
I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it. And I was alive.
This doesn't mean Walter never considered his family's interests. He still fought tooth and nail to make sure they were safe and would receive his money after his death. Just like Eren and his friends, Walter kept his family in check despite his goals growing larger than intended. Walter's run in the drug empire allowed him to use his gift of chemistry to its fullest potential, and that allowed him to truly feel alive, something he had never felt before. Eren Yeager and Walter White both come from two very different stories of two different mediums entirely. However, it is fascinating how their writing and their character development are able to parallel each other so well. Two top tier main characters that will for sure go down as two of the best of all time. If you enjoyed this, be sure to check out my other Eren video where I explore how he may be the true antagonist of Attack on Titan. And for the rest of you, thanks for watching.